Hey, Shelby McDaniel here. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode here today. I want to talk to you a little bit about the subject of control around food because us humans, we love control, right? We just freaking love control. The brain loves control. Why? Naturally, because it creates a predictability, which means familiar spaces, which means safety, and the brain and body care about one thing, and that is keeping you alive and safe and well. That's it. That's all it cares about. So that's why change is really hard, and that's a whole other topic that we could spend hours on today. But today we want to focus on the negative impact of trying to control our food. Because, I think we all have a history of that, myself included. I remember, back in the day when I was really deep in the fitness industry, and even before I got into the fitness industry, it was all about control. It was all about how little I could eat to get by. And then it evolved into different things like, okay, well, then I need to be perfect with this meal plan, and I would count and I would measure every freaking thing. I wouldn't miss a beat. But the reality is when you have that much control, and even if it's all good intentions, it is going to backfire on you 100% of the time for many reasons. And that's why I want to, go over a few things with you here today. Because really, when you're in that space and you have that high level of control that you think that you need around food, it's really the food that's controlling you, right? You're not controlling it. And, you might be listening to this and be thinking, oh my gosh, but Shelby, like, if I don't control everything, I'm gonna freaking eat everything. I get it. Again, there's just some things that you're not aware of, maybe some skill sets that you're missing. But in the end of the day, the reality is you are being controlled by the food. So psychologically, what happens, a couple things happen. I'm just going to go through a few here today. When we tighten that grip for control, first of all, we all know that you feel deprived from food because there's an emotional need. There's an emotional enjoyment that we're supposed to get from food, and we don't get it. We're going to feel deprived. We're going to start craving more things, and then your body is literally going to force you to break that diet. But there's also, from when you have a long history of dieting, of cutting out foods and restricting foods, and having good foods, bad foods, all of those games over the years. As soon as you start to say, well, I can't or I shouldn't have something, like literally your brain's like, uh-oh, alert ahead, we need to hurry up and have these things, right? And it becomes like this Last Supper kind of feeling, right? You know what I mean? You've been there. So some backlash eating is another way that so people can describe that. But it's so meaning just the psychological impact of saying, like, I can't have something totally backfires on you 100% of the time. And so when you can't have something, what happens? You want it more. So then, your thoughts increase, your obsessions increase about food. And so when you say, I can't have something, and then that creates, a psychological impact, then you literally can't have just one. So then you create this belief of, I literally can't have just one, Shelby. And so then you stop trusting yourself around food, right? You stop keeping certain foods in the house, which that sucks, right? Let's be honest. So those are just a couple of the psychological, impacts. And then we're in this negative space right now. We have even more limiting beliefs that are being created. Like, I don't have enough willpower. Maybe I'm addicted to carbs. Maybe I'm addicted to sugar. Maybe So it's just this big domino effect. And, a lot of people lose hope at this point. So psychologically, all of this control backfires on you. So now when it comes to the body, if you take all of this, like this toxic messaging, right? The negativity, the fear and the anxiety that you're starting to feel, in your efforts to control everything. Now the body becomes highly stressed, right? And so now, not only do you have the warfare in your head, but now you have this biological chemical warfare going on in your body, which can be even more harmful to your health and is totally an instigator of weight gain, definitely an obstacle for weight loss because you have increased insulin and cortisol. When you're in like the fight or flight, in the low, I would say low mode or even moderate mode of chronic stress, your metabolism starts to slow down because your body's like, hey, what's going on? There's a threat somewhere. We got to kind of hunker down here, and we got to get protective. So your metabolism slows down. Then your digestive processes get upset. So if you struggle with food and you have a lot of digestive upset, that's why. Your body, again, is focusing on the threat and not necessarily what's always going on in your digestive processes. So we have a lot of nutrient excretion, which which means, okay, well, maybe I'm eating according to what my fitness pal wants me to have, but I'm so stressed about this or that I'm not even absorbing all of the nutrients in my body. So what happens? I want to eat more. Then here comes the belief, well, see, I can't control myself. And it's just like this domino effect. Can you relate? But stress also really impacts your appetite as well. For some, it can go way down, but for most people, it can go way up. And then when you're in this hyperactive state, forget mindful eating. Like, forget it. There is just no chance of that. You are going to be reactive. It's going to be moving fast, right? And then lastly, when you are trying to control everything with your eating, you are more than likely probably not eating enough, right? And again, you're emotionally not kind of hitting the points that you need to feel satisfied with your eating, but you're also probably nutritionally not hitting the points. And so again, your body sees that as you starving. And so if it's not getting consistency, like the pleasure from food, if it's not consistently getting the nutrients that it needs from what you're eating, again, brain and body care about one thing, and that's keeping you from starving to death. So we would literally force you to break your diet. So that's why all of this control and trying to cut this, cut that, be good, be compliant on every level only increases your chances of weight gain. Dieting is literally the leading predicting cause of weight gain. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's so backwards. But dieting will increase your weight loss resistance, lowers your metabolism, deregulates your appetite, increases your cravings, your binging, your emotional eating, obviously, and that's because dieting cannot transcend your biology. So I hope the takeaway that you got today was this tight grip that you think you have with food is very false, okay? The food and the diet is all controlling you. So then the mission becomes, well, how do I relax around food? And that's where we can really dive into in other segments here. More ways and more mind-body nutrition practices to reconnect with the body, mindful eating, intuitive eating. There's so many things that we can do here to kind of get you back into the driver's seat and kind of essentially relearn how to eat. But I want you to know also that, again, big takeaway is that it's not you that's failing all of this stuff, right? It's not you that's failing all of these diets. It's the diets and how we're taught to eat, which is very mechanical, is actually what is failing you. So I hope that validates some of the struggles maybe that you've been experiencing. I hope you got some takeaways. Feel free to leave some questions or comments below. And I will see you on the next video.